What's up, guys? I'm gonna get this review out of the way so that I can put this away. I don't plan on using this anytime in the near future. So this is the Ganzo 720. G for green. There we go. I took this camping with me over the weekend when I was camping for Memorial Day weekend. And I basically used it for the first day and put it away. But I used it more as a kitchen prep than any other knife. And it did fantastic for the first day. The only problem is that, again, the pivot got loose to the point where it created a lot of wobble. And if you look with the axis lock unlocked right here, wait, camera, see how the blade centering is totally off. Once I lock up that axis lock, it should straighten out. But when I unlock it, totally goes loose. You do have an extreme amount of blade play. Let's see if I get this to focus right. There we go. And this is because the pivot screw went loose. Now I can go ahead and tighten this up and make it okay again, but I say 5 minutes of me playing with the knife and I get loose again. So I didn't feel safe giving it to the females to do prep work with this knife. Instead, I just used that the buck knife that I always use right here to do all the food prepping. So this knife was good, but the thing is, when you hand over a knife to somebody, they treat it as a knife, you know, and I treat my knives a little bit more careful. But so what ended up happening was this was dropped on a rock and it put a roll on the edge of this. So I fixed it up real quick and I resharpened it, so it should be pretty good now. But yeah, the roll was right at that area. So this is pretty much one of my favorite camping knives. I mean, it's incredibly affordable and it works very well. So I figured, why not bring a folding knife with me, so that see if I could, you know, use everything that this buck could do. I could do with this folding knife. And the thing is, the blade length, the usable blade length, is pretty similar. The Ganzo actually has a bigger blade length, usable blade length, than the buck does, but the problem was, again, that pivot was getting loose and I just didn't feel safe. So nothing some Loctite can't fix, but I felt that out of the box, the fit and finish, it did kind of lose a little bit. So the price, it's 15 to 20 bucks, somewhere around there, some crazy affordable price for what you get. I did score the price out of 10. The blade steel is 440C. And 440C actually is better than AUS8, better than HCR30 MOV, better than a lot of other blade steels that are out there. Let me go ahead and check the chart. And again, once I get that back padding in there, I will do that knife steel video. I've been wanting to put that up for a long time now. Let's check here. So as far as edge retention goes, 440C actually does better than 14C28N, which is freaking fantastic. That's better than BD1, AUS8, HCR13 MOV, 440A, 420HC, 420H1. Again, 440C outperforms all those steels edge retention wise. 440C kind of hangs at the mid to lower end of the knife spectrum. Edge retention wise is kind of right there, kind of mid-level to lower end in pretty much every single category: hardness, knife wear resistance, all that. It's a freaking fantastic steel. Now I love HCR13 MOV and AUS8, but the only problem is they don't hold the edge too well. So this 440C, you have a little bit longer edge retention. Now from use, I've only used it for 1 day, so I can't really tell you how well it holds up with the edge, but this knife is freaking honky. Heavy, not really a good everyday carry, but it's a freaking fantastic utility knife. or food prep knife, so on and so forth. So the blade steel, for the price, I gave it a 10. Again, a perfect score. Out of box sharpness, it did not do so well at all. It's not so sharp. I stropped it up and it still didn't hold that razor sharp edge, or it never really had one. So out of box sharpness, I'll give it a 6. Not much to talk about there. Blade shape. Well, first, let's get, blade shape. It's freaking fantastic. I love it. I kind of wish it was a little bit more, a little less belly here. What I noticed when I was kind of chopping stuff with it, if it was just a little bit more curved in. This is personal preference, that's why I gave it an 8 out of 10. Handle material, G10. G10, very grippy, very good. I have no complaints with the handle material. This is a freaking fantastic knife and kind of one of Ganzo's go-to knives. I've seen a lot of other YouTube reviews out there of people abusing the crap out of this knife, and it does very well. And it's a very robust knife, so it will hold up just fine. The only thing is you need Loctite. Let's see here, and it's kind of big for me. Category 6, ergonomics. How's it feel in the hands? It feels freaking fantastic. It really fills the hand well. Only thing is with ergonomics is weight, and the weight is very heavy. So again, a similar knife, similar size, they could really reduce the weight of it by just skeletonizing the liners. And again, these are really thick liners. So if you just skeletonize those, you could go ahead and reduce the weight just a little bit on it. I believe this is way over 5 ounces. I have a scale, but the only problem is if I put it up on here, it doesn't give me an accurate reading. So let me pop off my scale here. So I do have a scale, and I'll go ahead and scale it up for you off camera so you can see the weight on this thing. Let's go ahead and scale it up here. 7.2 ounces. 7.2 ounces. So this thing reads at 7.2 ounces, way beyond what 5 ounce. And if my cutoff is a little bit, anything under 5 ounces is an okay everyday carry. So again, this is not an everyday carry knife. It's too heavy. Now some of you won't have a problem with it. Again, this is my preference. But for the most part, this is just a little bit too heavy to have it in your pocket every day. Let's see, locks and liners. Again, full steel liners. The lock is a axis lock. It's kind of like Ganzo's version of the axis lock for Benchmade. It really smoothens out over time. It does, but even at its smoothest, it is nowhere near Benchmade. Nowhere near Benchmade smoothness, my opinion. So again, this is opinion. Let me see if I could pull out a Benchmade here. So this is probably one of my favorites because of the price, the bang for your buck, I guess. And this is just the Griptilian 551, the full size. It's so light, just so capable. So the axis lock right here does protrude more. Does protrude more than the Ganzo. So it protrudes less with the Ganzo, so it's going to be harder to get to. Okay. Another thing is the pressure on this, where it snaps. Let me see if I can do it one-handed. Where it kind of gives, and it might hit the camera. I want it to the camera. Here we go. Right there. Right there. So again, there is the engagement wise, it is tons different. Smoothness wise, again, you can't beat a Benchmade. As far as smoothness goes, lockup. We're not comparing these two knives. We're not going to. There's no competition, obviously, with a $100 knife opposed to a $15 to $20 knife. There's no difference. Okay, then lockup is pretty sloppy. That's just because of the pivot screw. Let me see if I can tighten that up real quick, just so that it stops wobbling everywhere. Once that pivot screw is tightened to the point where it's good, there's no blade play. It's no longer smooth. And again, I'm not going to tighten it with any drivers. You just saw that. I'm just going to use the bit on there. I just want to get it still some blade play. Tighten it up just a little bit more. There's still a little bit of blade play, but a lot of that's gone. But again, it doesn't fall like it did before, obviously. You can still get it closed, but a couple, literally, like if I play with this for 5 minutes, it's going to get loose again, and it's just going to be useless. More time, it's going to be dangerous, wobble, so on and so forth. So, screwdriver set away. Again, I'm not comparing Benchmade to Ganzo. There's no point of doing that. But for the price, it does freaking fantastic. The lockup is great. It's a lot better than the liner or frame, subframe locks that I've dealt with other knives. For this price of a knife, it did fantastic. So I'm going to give it a 10. It just did well. Overall, it did very good. The clip is freaking fantastic. It's a deep carry clip that doesn't come over. Basically, it doesn't go past the bottom of the blade. Now, the reason why this is good is because there's no clothes that could get caught in between the base of the blade and the clip. So the clip is freaking fantastic. It's a deep carry. It's screwed onto the G10, so maybe it might get loose, but it's not loose at all at the moment. This looks like a glass breaker. I'm not sure if it is. Just looks like one. I'm really not sure if it's actual glass breaker. Doesn't look like it has a carbide tip on there, but maybe. Color difference right there. But anyways, could be a glass breaker. It looks like one. But as far as clip goes, it gets a 10 out of 10. It's freaking fantastic. Fit finish. Fit and finish, like I said, that Loctite, man, if they had that Loctite on there, I would have gave this fit and finish a 10. But, I mean, there's no sharp edges, no hot spots. It's good. For this price of a knife, it's amazing that they actually got this to fit and finish the way it did. Loctite, it's such an easy solution, and it didn't happen. I'm so disappointed that Ganzo did not put a little bit of Loctite on this particular knife, especially because it's one of the more popular knives. So fit and finish does get an 8 out of 10. Now, my opinions and my recommendations. I'm more of a everyday carry kind of guy as far as pocket knives go. So I cannot recommend this per se. More than that, it does get a recommendation because it did get a high score. Bang for your buck, quality for your, for your money. But if I went out and I lost this, say it dropped, am I going to go out and buy another one? I'm not, and that's why it does not get the 5 points out of 10. And as far as the knife itself, though, in my opinions, it's good. It's good. I have it, so I'll use it. I'll put some Loctite on it, and that'll be even better. So I'll give it a 5 out of 10, because if I lose it, I'm not going to get another one. But then again, it's not bad. So the total score for this knife is an 86 out of 100. Anything 80 and above is recommended by me. So if you're looking for a knife and you don't care about the heft, this is a freaking fantastic knife to get. Hopefully I could get through all these Ganzos so that I could go on to the knives that I love. My personal everyday carry is this Kershaw, and I banged the crap out of this. Chipped the blade several times, and it just keeps going. So as far as this Ganzo goes, it's a fantastic knife. It's heavy. Again, if you're in the market for a knife like this and you're an outdoorsy type, this is fantastic. This will be the knife for you. If you work in an office, this is not the knife for you. It's just too heavy, too bulky, too big. And the thing is, I work in an office, so this knife, this Kershaw, this has a fantastic blade. It has a recurve, so basically there's a bigger cutting edge. I just tapped it on steel. But the actual cutting edge is freaking nearly identical. But with this recurve, you might actually get more of a cutting edge in this Ganzo. This is in 14C28, and I also have one in S30V. 440C, again, the blade steel on Ganzos are freaking fantastic. I really love how they use 440C. Okay, that's it for me for this knife. Hopefully we'll keep it shorter, under 20 minutes from now on. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave it below in the comments. Please subscribe, and hopefully in these other reviews besides the Ganzos, we'll have some field tests that I do. Usually I cut through. Okay, thank you very much, and you have a great day.